Coming in at number 33 on our Locked On Senators NHL Draft Rankings, the son of Senators legend Radek Bonk from the London Knights, it's Oliver Bonk.
Ross, this is the first time I'm hearing of this prospect, Oliver Bonk. Sens fans, why didn't anyone notify us of Oliver Bonk? No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, Oliver Bonk was well on our radar a long time ago, and not just because we're Sens fans and not just because his dad played for the Sens, or for the fact that his prediction was the Ottawa Senators would win the cup if they just made the playoffs last season. We love this kid for so many more reasons, Ross. It is hard to find a right shot defenseman, number one, a shutdown right shot defenseman, number two, and three, a shutdown right defenseman that can also put up points. He put up 40 points with the London Knights this season. And if you know anything about the way the London Knights operate, it's not easy for any kid just to walk on there and get big playing time. Dale Hunter has these kids. They got to earn their spots. But Oliver Bonk proved pretty quickly that he could be trusted.
Yeah, sometimes when you're not trusted, you end up getting traded to Kingston or something like that if you're a second round pick. But that's neither here nor there. Oliver Bonk is 6'1", 180 pounds in 67 games this past season. He had 10 goals, 30 assists, good for 40 points, and 38 penalty minutes. And we have a couple of our scouts see him as a first-round talent at 26 overall, both Corey Pronman and Chris Peters. But then Scott Wheeler has him at 41. Craig Button has him at 43. And Elite Prospects is all the way down at 56. So a very wide variety of opinions. Where do you stand on Oliver Bonk?
As far as rankings goes, Ross, I think we could see him be one of the first defensemen selected in the second round. I think depending on how the domino defenseman pick goes in the first round, I anticipate once the second and or third defenseman is picked, we might see a bunch of others picked after. But I really think somewhere in the 30 to 45 pick range is a great spot for Oliver Bonk.
Here's what I'll say about Oliver Bonk. I think he goes in the first round, but if he goes in the second, it's a great pick. That's where I'm at, where it's like, if you're expecting him to be a top four defenseman who plays on the power play and penalty kill, you might be asking a little bit too much, at least right away. But if you're going to be patient with Oliver Bonk and bring him in as a 5'6" defenseman with some of that, not all of that responsibility, I think he's going to make you look like a very smart general manager. EP, even though they were the lowest on him, did call him the third best shutdown defenseman in this draft. So I just don't want a team to draft him and expect him to put up 40 points in the NHL, at least in the first 5 years. Like, I think that you have to be patient with him. You have to let him kind of grow into those minutes. Like, basically, you can't treat him the way that London treated him and just put him into these situations. I know he excelled at this level, but I think patience is going to be key with Oliver Bonk.
Well, Ross, especially I feel like you'd be doing kind of a detriment to his attributes doing that, because you just mentioned it. EP says he's the third best shutdown defenseman in this draft. Let him shut the door on people and don't worry about him trying to produce on the power play. Now, is that possible that he could do that? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's no chance that it can happen, because he's already proved it at the OHL level, and you got to go with what you know so far. But the thing is, he plays just such a reliable, safe, smart game. He's keeping attackers wide. He's reading the plays effectively. When he's bringing the puck up the ice, no issue chipping it off the boards and in, and just not creating a turnover or making a risky play. It's a very meat and potatoes style of game, but if you play it smart and effectively, there's a reason it's regarded as a simple, safe way. It's because it's effective. Exactly. So I think a lot of defensemen that are coming up into the draft, they want to put up the points. They want the flashy highlights to get noticed. But Oliver Bonk is content knowing, I don't really care about how flashy I look. I'm going to play hockey the right way. I think coaches at the next level are going to love this kid. He just is so projectable, and he's someone that you can put over the board shift by shift, and you're not concerned. You're not stressed out. He's just going to give you good quality shutdown defensive options.
High floor. on him.
High floor. Yep.
Kind of like David Reinbacher, where it's like you can project them to see what they're going to be at the next level, but I'm not going to put a ceiling on them because I do think there is untapped offensive potential for Oliver Bonk as well. And in the playoffs, man, he was an important piece of that London Knights team. In 21 playoff games, had 11 points, +8, only took 3 minor penalties, and he's playing against the top teams, top players on the other team night in and night out. And let's remember this as a guy who's not the oldest guy. I mean, he turned 18 in January this year, and the build is just you can easily project it. So I'm fired up about Oliver Bonk. I think if he goes anywhere from 33, where ironically is exactly where we have him in the draft, the first pick of the second round, beyond, it's a complete home run. If your team reached, for lack of a better term, and took him in the middle or late first round, like maybe he is in our mock draft, you'll have to go check out the full first round mock draft, but I think that you're still going to be able to see upside in that. So I think that Oliver Bonk's going to play in the NHL. Like, that's going to be sick. And how about well, we already talked about how in the car there, he's talking, all the Sens need to do is get in the playoffs. So he endeared himself to Sens fans pretty quickly with that notion, but showing up to the NHL scouting combine with a mullet, just like his dad's legendary NHL draft photo with the Ottawa Senators. And his dad was the 3rd overall pick in the NHL draft to the Sens way back in the day. So I thought that was a cool little homage that he did to that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, this is a kid with character. Now, obviously, we're Sens biased. So being like, he picked the Sens to go deep in the playoffs and had a mullet just like his dad. Great character. Like, you got to love that. But I think there's more to that. And it just shows that obviously this is a kid with good character if he was trusted by Dale Hunter and the London Knights staff to put up these big minutes and play in these big moments. So I just think if you're a team scouting Oliver Bonk and looking to draft him, you can rest assured that at some point this kid's going to be a part of your NHL roster. And look, obviously you want to swing for upside with draft picks, especially in a deep draft like this, but there is some comfort in being like, look, we're not really sure where these other guys are going to land, but we got a safe pick in Oliver Bonk.
You certainly do. Let's finish up our conversation on Oliver Bonk with some trivia about his dad. Pilsy, where does Radek Bonk rank in terms of all-time games played by an Ottawa Senator?
I'm going to say he's 8th.
Higher.
Oh, can't be top 5, so I'll say 6.
He's number 5.
Oh, okay. All right.
Jason Spetz is 6th, 3 games behind him, and Erik Karlsson is actually in 8th. How about, I'll let you regroup here. How about in points?
12th.
6th in points.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And only 3 forwards in Sens history have more points than Radek.
So I was way off there. Wow.
Alfredsson, Spezza, Yashin, Radek Bonk.
Whew.
Now, I mean, some guys right behind him played like 200 less games, Marian Hossa, Danny Heatley. But hey, longevity, that's a part of it too. So Radek Bonk, obviously, he's still an Ottawa guy too. Follows us on Twitter. Great dude, Bonky. And hey, we got to get Radek Bonk on the show sometime. Hey, right after the Sens draft his son. Hey, we like that. So check out all of our draft profiles on YouTube at Locked On Senators. But of course, we're a little biased. He's an Ottawa kid. So we've got to be on board with Oliver Bonk. But if your team just took him, there's a lot to like for the 6'2" defenseman with the London Knights.